Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to That's That Podcast here on YouTube. It's a book, yeah, I know. I don't read as much as I used to. I don't read books as often as I used to. Or comics, really. But Roger Corman with Jim Jerome. How I Made 100 Movies in Hollywood and Never Lost a Dime. This is a first printing. Even has the photo credits insert. Alright, this one. I was so happy when I found it. I've mentioned before, I used to call it the good thrift store and the shit thrift store. But now it's just the thrift store because the good thrift store closed. He wasn't making enough money to afford the rent on the place. So he had to close it, which sucked, man. It really sucked. But that place was great. But the shitty thrift store actually has a pile of books. They got these huge shelves, and most of it is books written by people off Fox News. Shit like that, cookbooks, Christian books, nothing I'm interested in. Well, I was in there quite a long time ago. It was probably early 2021, maybe late 2020, probably early 2021. I'm in there, and I'm always digging through the DVDs and VHS and board games. And I see, the spine. I'm like, ooh, Roger Corman, and I grabbed it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is the first print. I've always wanted to read this. I love her. If you don't know who Roger Corman is the guy who, at AIP Pictures, started doing shit like he did Creature from the Haunted Sea. He did a lot of movies at AIP. Then he formed, New World, which did stuff like Death Race 2020, one of Stallone's early films, Rock and Roll High School. He directed, wrote, and produced piles on a lot of stuff he just produced. But he's never really had a film that cost him a shit pile of money. And he explains in the book how he did that. He pre-sold stuff. He was very smart with stuff. If you're into B movies, you know who Roger Corman is. I mean, he's still putting stuff out right now. The last thing I saw from him was, and it's been getting close to 10 years ago, it's this little film called Piranhaconda, which premiered on Sci-Fi Channel. I happened to be on the coast. For some reason, I think I was just going out for a vacation. I was staying at my cousin's house. Her then husband, and two boys. Her husband's brother's stepkid was doing like a band recital. And they were going to go. And I was going to go with them, and I found out you had to pay $10 to get in. I'm like, I ain't paying $10 to get in. I'll stay here. So I sat there, and I'm flipping channels. I'm like, ooh, Piranhaconda's premiering. I'll see about half of this, and they'll be home. Well, that band concert went on at 10 o'clock, and then they went out and eat afterwards. So it was midnight before they got home. So I'd fall asleep by the time I got. But I got to see Piranhaconda. Let's see what they got on the back here. Now, also, he's known for starting a lot of careers, like Jack Nicholson, Little Shop of Horrors, The Terror. A lot of Jack Nicholson was with Corman. Okay, praise for Corman. Roger Corman is not only a great mentor, he's an artist, the best kind of artist, able to nurture and inspire talent in a generous way. I was a nobody. I am eternally grateful Roger Corman stuck with me because I didn't have anything else going for him. If I hadn't learned the Gravillo, this is Peter Bogdanovich, who director, writer, I think, too. If I hadn't learned the guerrilla warfare approach of filmmaking that Roger mastered, I never would have been able to make some of the films I've made. Jonathan Demme. Roger's contribution to motion pictures is awesome. He's a wildly gifted, masterful director and in complete command of the medium. Superb casting, supreme camera work, and an amazing storytelling and brilliant graphic use of the frame. He's a giant. And then John Davidson, who's producer of Airplane. If there's a heaven, and if Roger Corman has any expectation of getting in there, what will open the gates for him is they gave 100 people a shot. Now, I'll go through this real quick. Just kind of flip through. What do Martin Scorsese, Peter Fonda, Francis Ford Coppola, and Jonathan Demme and Jack Nicholson have in common? They, along with many others, had their starts with Roger Corman. There is a later print of this that's a paperback. I'm just glad I got this hardcover. 1990. So it does not cover anything past about 89, 90-ish. And it's just a really it's, you get little inserts here and there from different directors. There are people that worked with Corman, but most of it's Corman telling this guy, Jim Jerome, his stuff. Not a lot of pictures. There's some. X-Man with X-ray eyes. William Shatner in The Intruder. Let's see. Basil Rathbone and Vincent Price, Tales of Terror. Vincent Price, Peter Lorre's head from Tales of Terror, and Poster for the Pit and the Pendulum. That's everything. He did all the Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe films. Just an amazing book. Now, I'll bet this took me a long time to read, but part of that is because the way I was reading it. I'm one of them people, if I go to the bathroom, I have to do a number 2. I got to kind of relax a little bit. One of the medications I take makes it a little harder for me to take a shit than it should be. So I always keep a pile of stuff on the hamper directly across from the toilet to read. And this book got sat in there, so I was only reading it as I took a shit, basically. So over the course of like 4 months, I read this. When normally, let me see, if I was reading like I used to, it's 237 pages. I would have had this read in like a day. But definitely worth tracking down a copy. I would like to see, give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, I'd like to see him do another version of this, like a new one, and add like from 90 to, even if you just go to 2015, add another, what, 25 years? Because he's still doing stuff. I mean, I remember seeing the statistic like for a while there. When I don't know if Sci-Fi Channel still does this. I have not watched anything on Sci-Fi Channel in a couple of years now. Once they stopped doing the Sharknado films, I just kind of didn't even pay attention to the channel. But I know for a while there, he was making he had a contract to make 5 or 6 movies a year for Sci-Fi Channel. That would later on, get released on DVD and probably played overseas in theaters and shit. But just an uber talented guy, great book. Good picture of Corman. And I remember right, he shows up in Silence of the Lambs. He shows up in quite a few different films. It's a little small part, and it's mostly directors that he got them their start. They're like, hey, I got this little small part. Come on in, Roger. I'll pay you X amount and you get to do it. But hope you enjoyed that. Remember, if you did, give me that thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, all the other bullshit. Talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.